All right. Rise to the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight on this gorgeous day. Make decisions to make Shelby County stronger. Lord, in your name, we pray. Amen.
And
All right, well, thank you everyone for coming to our meeting tonight. We're gonna just quickly get through we have to have, we're gonna have the public hearing on the 2026 budget. We're gonna have a public hearing on the public safety tax. And then we'll just get through some of the, just kind of the little bits that's on the agenda before we'll kind of open it up to broadband. So that being said, we'll go ahead and, I would entertain a motion to open the hearing for the 2026 budget.
second,
Motion in a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pass 6-0. So at this point, if anyone from the public wants to address the proposed advertised 2026 budget, this is your opportunity. There being no comments, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of closing public hearing? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing regarding the public safety tax.
I'll entertain, or I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for public safety tax.
second,
Motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? 6-0. And just to let everyone know, this is the additional local income tax that is gonna go from, I think it's
1.6
yes.
to 1.7.
So it's gonna, yeah, so the total will go from 1.6% to 1.7%.
And the two that we're changing is the public safety, we're going from 0.35 to 0.40. And that's so that this extra 0.05 is gonna go to the volunteer fire departments. The second one that the council has decided to act on is the jail tax, and we're going from 0.000 to 0.05 on that. So that's the 0.1 that we're gonna raise or requesting to raise. Ordinance is 2025-19, if you'll pass that down to.
Any comments or questions from the council?
Will be voted on separate or?
No, it's all one ordinance.
Do the same. Anyone from the public wish to comment, ask a question? I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment on the local income tax increase.
so moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So the public hearing having been held and closed, I would entertain a motion to pass ordinance number 2025-19, modifying the local income tax rates.
I'll make a motion. Let's present.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of passing ordinance 2025-19, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Passes 5-1. Then I guess we'll just go ahead and get some of this little stuff out of the way. The minutes from August 19th meeting, council, you've had a chance to review the minutes. Any proposed changes to that? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the August minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's 6-0. I'd entertain a motion to pass all transfers as presented.
Oh, do.
Amy, real quick, the health department stuff was just because of his budget stuff again, right? Is that correct?
That wasn't a transfer, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
that was an additional.
an additional, all right.
Yeah, but that was, yes, you're correct, but
Got a motion to approve the transfers. We need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Approve the transfers. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Then the first appropriation will be the for the sheriff, for the $5,000 additional appropriation for the communication tower.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor to approve? Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Health Department, additional appropriation. Yeah, it's, as Kyle mentioned, this was, Health Department didn't get the budget kind of in, so the money's all budgeted, but they have to appropriate everything, right? Because of
we
that.
didn't turn the budget.
So this is $5,000 for cell service. I'll entertain a motion to approve this appropriation.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Is that all the appropriation? All right. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll move to broadband, at least if you want to come up there first, address the council.
Sorry, I'm having some health issues of my own. I'll get through this as best I can. Without passing out. That's not a joke. My name is Lisa Wojciechowski Shaler. I am here both individually and in part on behalf of the Northwest Shelby County Concerned Citizens Coalition. You would think after 2 weeks that I could do this. 2 weeks ago today. Gosh darn it. Sorry. This has nothing to do with any kind of criticism of the council or that anything could have happened differently. But 2 weeks ago today, I came home to find my husband dead on the side of the bed, which of course I didn't know he was dead at the time. And my phone signal being very spotty where I live off of London Road, in between London Road and Pleasant View, I had to rely on my cell phone to call 911. My call relies on Wi-Fi through the internet to be able to get a connection because of our otherwise spotty signals. In the midst of calling 911 and trying to resuscitate my husband, my call kept dropping because it said on my phone that we have a poor Wi-Fi signal. So I'm not blaming the phone company. I'm not blaming anybody really. It was an act of God, but it brought to my attention the fact that I had to leave my husband laying there while I'm trying to get instructions on how to resuscitate him so that I could run all the way downstairs to my office to use the landline to call 911 back so that they could try to give me instructions. And then I had to hang up and run back upstairs so that they could call me back on my cell phone so that I could try to continue to do resuscitation and see what could be done. I'm not blaming anybody for that. It was an act of God, and I don't know that anything could have saved my husband. That is not the point. The point is, what if he was still alive? What if there could have been some chance of saving him? What if this happens to somebody else in the future where there could be a potential that 911 could be able to walk them through this system without having to stop and run to another phone and come back upstairs? That's the point. The point is that we need to be very careful with what we're doing to make sure the entire county is covered adequately with broadband. So my personal concern is that nobody else should have to go through the trauma that I am now having treatment for to try to save their husband and have dropped calls and be in a state of panic. And that shouldn't happen to anybody. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And that brought to mind then the importance of broadband. So now I'm going to get, please don't let that be my phone. Anyway, okay, it's not my phone. As a result of this particular, what I consider an emergency, which could be life and death for a lot of people, and I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can. I'm really sorry, but I'm pretty shaky right now still. I may go out of order on this because I received a lot of comments from our Concerned Citizens Coalition on things that we would ask the county council to consider going forward as you address broadband. I do not know for a fact whether it is written in stone that Comcast will henceforth be the provider. I'm not saying that they are good or bad. My personal experience with them has been mixed, and I'm not real thrilled about having dropped calls, but I understand that that could be something that could be endemic to a lot of different companies. So I'm not necessarily singling out Comcast, although I'm not real thrilled with them, to be honest. But that's not the entire point. So the first thing is, and again, I'm going to probably be disjointed and I apologize, but even if it is not legally required, and I don't think it is legally required, but even if it isn't, I have been asked by a number of people in our group and the general public that there should be some sort of posted notice for the county council meetings, whether it's a budget meeting or any other public meeting, that it should not just be on the board outside the building, although that is the minimum which is required. But it would be lovely nowadays that we have social media and other agencies are also posting it on agendas where we can put it out to the public a little earlier. So they have asked, because we have missed apparently some of the meetings that addressed broadband, and they were posted legally, but if you could possibly do other sorts of notices besides just sticking it on the board outside, otherwise I'm going to have to ask some of my friends that work in the courthouse to come across here every day and look at it, and they probably wouldn't be too happy about doing that. And anyway, even though it may not be required or recommended, the public does expect a certain amount of transparency and communication. So we are asking, first of all, that for any kind of meeting, but because of broadband, that there be public notices posted in ample time. Our constituents look to you as a county council and also to the county commissioners to be our champions, to represent us and do what you were elected to do, which in your case is mostly budgetary and being astute and careful stewards of the funds of the county. At the last meeting, and I'm sure there was some reason, and I wasn't able to make it, but there was no vote, no public discussion, and therefore no opportunity as far as going forward with broadband. And so I was asked to also, on our Facebook page, give the county council members an invitation and opportunity in lieu of the vote to post your individual positions. And we would like to thank you to those who did exercise that. The next question that came up regarding broadband, and we're not saying that there's any wrongdoing. This really has nothing to do with accusations as much as it is asking for some accountability and transparency. We don't know if there was anything wrong or not. It might be perfectly great. And once we are given the full picture, we may applaud you, but we just don't know that there's anything right or wrong right now. So there have been requests for accountability on any funding that was previously allocated to, and I understand some of this, but I'm just presenting to you my litany of requests. The accountability regarding any funding that was previously allocated that may or may not have gone to broadband. If it ended up not going to broadband, where did it go? Was the money lost because it wasn't used, or was it reallocated? And I know the answers to some of these questions. Trust me, as a lawyer, I usually don't ask questions I don't know the answers to. Mr. Hacker knows that same thing. But for a public record, I'm going through this. So there were a couple questions as far as past grants and funds that could they please be accounted for? Apparently there was a lot of public money that was spent on a consultant regarding the broadband issue. And then after that report was made, it appears that whatever the consultant did, it was disregarded. I do have a note here. Well, I know this from my own conversation, so I'm going to go ahead and say this. I have spoken to both present and past council members, and because the broadband issue has been going on for years now, that we've been trying to figure that out, just like been trying to figure out sewers for Northwest Shelby County. It seems like it's never ending. But I know that some of them have expressed their opinions to me. I'm not calling anybody out by name, but that maybe we don't really need to blanket the county with broadband. Maybe we just need to use the towers or do this and that piecemeal. That there might be other ways to get broadband. I have been told, and I have to agree with this, that the cheapest option is not always the best. Our constituents are asking that you look for value, not just what's going to be the cheapest. What is going to be the best value? What is going to be the most reliable service? And I'm going to harken back to my own situation there. You might need very good broadband, especially if you want to encourage development in Shelby County. Companies aren't going to come here if they haven't got a lot of bandwidth and good broadband. So there is that. And okay, so here's another one that somebody told me, that there are a lot, everybody complains about every service, that there's always complaints about every phone service, every internet service. So we are asking that the council, as you're considering what you should go forward with, that you do your due diligence and fully vetting all of the options, not just for price, but also for the value and what it's going to do for our county overall in the long run. I know that emergency services are going to need very fast, reliable access for the entire county, not just the city. And so please, if you are allocating money, consider the outliers that really need help. Better than halfway done. There was some concern that was expressed that there's being money allocated to Shelbyville for more and better internet, broadband, and fiber optic. And Shelbyville already has pretty decent service from what I've heard, but I don't actually live here, so I really don't know. But that was a concern that was brought to my attention. They said, what about the rest of the county? And their quote was, we pay taxes and we vote also. So there's that. As far as Comcast, if you are deciding that you, well, I skipped something. Sorry about that. But somebody also asked me to find out that there was $16,000 that was allocated to hire a special attorney to review the broadband proposal, and they wondered if there would be an opportunity to itemize that bill, because they thought that $16,000 just to review one document sounded like a lot of money. So I'm just throwing that out there. If that's possible for that to be made public, I know that there are constituents that are interested in that. There's also, as far as the accountability, of list of where the ARPA, I don't even know what ARPA is, but ARPA money was spent. Maybe some of that was for the special attorney. And I think that was, so there's some issue about as to whether McNeely Law was actually too close in the representations to 9 Star. So you might have had to have hired a different attorney because of potential conflict of interest. And I understand that also. Somebody reported that $133,000 was spent on broadband, and that's great. And they would like to know, there was apparently some other grant money. I know about the 3.1 million, but somebody said that there was some years ago, another, I don't know, 5 or 8 million or something that was allocated years ago. So any grant money that was ever potentially earmarked for broadband, if it was or wasn't used, they'd like to have an accounting of that. I don't know how much time you guys have to really go through all of your notes and records to find all of that out, but these are concerns that the public would like to know. Now let's get down to Comcast in particular. I would like to know, as an attorney, whether or not there are any contracts that have already been proposed. Is there any timeline as far as when they might be actually processing any of this? What the cost would be to the general public once they do that? What will that affect as far as installation and then the monthly fees to the customers? What kind of network? And I'm saying this because my company is an audio video electronics corporation. So there are different kinds of wiring. There are different kinds of delivery services. We'd like to know, because that makes a difference in the reliability in the long term. And it might be better to invest some money up front so that you don't have to reinvest it 5 or 10 years from now and the technology changes. So if we're going to go forward with Comcast or any other company, are they going to be putting in fiber optic? Are they going to be burying it? Are they going to be putting it in a PVC so that when they go digging later on, you don't have issues with the fiber optic lines getting broken? And then if that happens, then who bears the cost of doing the repairs? Is there going to be any exclusivity given to Comcast or any of the other companies that they would have rights to the entire county? And that is a concern for the public because we are concerned about competition to keep the prices down. Right now, I've got Comcast and there is no actual competitor, so they can charge me whatever they want if I want high-speed internet. Competition is not a bad thing. And that would help the general public. Will there be any clauses for non-performance if Comcast screws up, or any other company for that matter, as to who's going to be responsible for remediations? And here's the next question. If there are these sorts of things and any kind of tax abatements or any other incentives that this council grants them, then what do we do if there's non-compliance? And I will bring up the issue of Five Below and them being given more abatements and for non-compliance. They haven't kept their word as far as what they were supposed to do and the amount of jobs that they were supposed to bring, and they still got their abatements extended. So if we're going to give any fiber optic company, any Comcast, any broadband company in general, any of this, are we going to actually have some teeth in any of the requirements that we have? I think that's all I have, gentlemen. I appreciate you giving me some time to talk today. I truly do. I understand that you didn't have to put me on the agenda, and I thank you.
At least in this, as a counselor, as myself, as a council, we truly appreciate you speaking tonight, and we do hurt for your loss.
Are you going to talk a little bit before you have him come up?
Yes, yeah, I think,
It's important to give
I
the
know.
in between because
yeah, probably, I think maybe the best way is to answer some of your questions directly, Lisa. Because it may help clear up some things. And I'll speak for the council, and they're free to, if they don't share my opinion, if they think I'm wrong. As of now, there is no agreement that has come before the council at all. There's no agreement with Comcast. There's no agreement with Nine Star. The county has been working toward an agreement for about 2 years now. And as last year is when we got close. And yes, what you said, one of the things that happened at that time was that the council's attorney said that he had a conflict. So the council needed to get another firm to review this. And it's a substantive contract. It's, 70 pages. And so that did begin. I think as of now, I think it's about $280,000. Is that?
273.
So $273,000 the council has spent toward broadband. And that includes the request for information that was sent out. So that was sent out in May of 2024, inviting broadband companies to, express their interest. And at that point, I think as part of the request for information, we said that we were willing to invest $3 million towards something. And then there were 5 maybe substantive responses. And then we did a request for proposals. And that went out, and those were due in October of 2024. And so that is what the proposal from Nine Star came from. That proposal is what kind of got caught in the being reviewed by attorneys. There were, I think, 2 meetings where we were ready to vote on it, but there was either an advertising issue or a submission issue. And so by a technicality, council wasn't able to address that. The ARPA money. So the ARPA money was the federal money as part of COVID that the federal government issued to local government. We received about $8.7 million. Now so that we initially got, we got two payments of that. So 2 $4.3 approximately $1 million payments, one in 2021 and one in 2022. The majority of that, over 5 million, went toward the Northwest sewer stuff.
The district.
Yeah.
The project, the big industrial project up north, not the district that they're trying to get going. So just to make sure. Yes, the Pleasant View development. Sorry, I wanted to make sure.
No, it's not. Be clear. So then the rest of that so I guess the rest of it was 3 point something million. And as part of this broadband proposal and this initiative, the council was basically holding back $3 million for broadband. When we got to the end of the year, all of the ARPA money from the federal government, for us to keep it, it had to be officially appropriated to be spent by the end of last year, by December 31st, 2024. And so when we got to that November, December, those meetings, when we didn't have anything we could concretely vote on, if we did not do anything with that money, we were going to lose it. So what the council decided to do is they paid, because this was allowable under the ARPA, they paid the sheriff's salary out of that. And then the $3 million from the ARPA that was remaining went into the general budget of the county. And so as we sit here today, that $3 million remains in the county general fund. Now, does anybody have any corrections or anything up to this point? Just make sure. All right. So once we rolled into this year, things have changed. And the last proposal of any kind that we got to fund broadband was that 9-Star. And what they proposed, again, this was over a year ago when they put this toward us, was it was going to be about 1,750 households that they expected or anticipated that could be affected by that. Once the council started, I guess, talking about it, we had a meeting where we invited different, we invited 9-Star, and we were talking about it, we were doing our due diligence, trying to figure out what the impact would be, because I know individually, when I heard this, I asked, how do we know what that number is? And it was very speculative, at least from my perspective. We didn't know if these were people who wanted broadband. We didn't know how they would connect. They were going to do a loop around, like a 465 broadband is what they were proposing.
I sent that to you, Amy.
Oh, yeah. And so as we were doing our due diligence, we learned that Comcast, for example, was already installing. They had gotten some money from, I think, the federal government or through the state. They got BEAD money, and they were already putting in fiber throughout the county. And we heard it. We knew that their goal, I think, by the end of this calendar year, was to get the whole southern half of the county done. And we were trying to get updates from 9-Star about that to see what was happening. So yeah, this is what's on the screen. This is the proposed loop that 9-Star was going to do.
And this isn't the loop that 9-Star was going to do.
Oh, no, this is the Comcast.
No, this was the proposed.
This was the proposed, oh, I thought it was.
This does not include any existing infrastructure.
That's why.
Yes, that's where, so you're not seeing some.
Yeah.
different colors. What is referenced in this loop, and just to make clarity, because Lisa, I believe you mentioned it well, how much is going in the ground, how much would have gone aerial. Just as a reference point with this map, the dotted lines represent fiber that would have been buried. The solid line would have represented fiber that would have been aerial.
You also mentioned, because I don't know the details, but there was also for every provider at the same time that this was going on, the ability to apply for BEAD money.
Correct.
Can you allude, that's where my knowledge kind of, but like dollar for dollar, like it was a great opportunity, correct?
Yeah, I mean, then they could have, and there were next level connection
Correct.
dollars that you could apply for too, that I believe the Jared from Comcast will expound on a little bit.
But every provider had.
Every provider had the opportunity to, yes, submit a bid for BEAD dollars and NLC funding.
Themselves.
One thing I'd like to say, and it's from, I don't remember which meeting, but we were never going to get broadband to every driveway. That was like 9-Star, even with their loop, but the hope was we would encompass as much as we could, branch out from that. The only county I know that did that was Brown County 10 years ago. Very different scenario and situation. That guy ended up being kind of the head broadband guy up the state, consultant. But
that was, to me, Brown County is very different geography than we are. That's crazy they got that done, but that was never going to be the option with any fiber we were putting in, was that every single driveway, they were going to try to I think all companies were probably going to try to maximize the most they can get. Am I correct?
You are,
Okay.
yes, you are 100% correct, and I had that as a note to jot down as well.
I just wanted to
especially with
say
the-
that.
Yeah, no, and thank you for bringing that up, because I think, especially with the initial, if we were to utilize the ARPA dollars, what that would have amounted to was about $1,800-ish per connection, which is what, based on the 17, it's a little over 1,750 homes represented on this loop here. Obviously spanning northwestern down to the eastern part or western part, and then southwestern, southeastern. And that's-
Here, if I say something.
Go ahead.
too. One of the things, and I apologize to anyone that was hurt. I did not comment. I too have had some family things going on. I was not at the last meeting. I wanted to know more information before I put anything out there. So that's why you haven't heard from Charity. One of the things that was a selling point for Nine Star was that by doing the loop, anyone would be allowed to tie into it. And that was sold as a vantage point. In talking with other providers, I have not found one yet that would tie into another provider's line. So that selling point is really not a selling point at all. So any other provider would have had to come in there and lay their own, because if Nine Star goes out, but you really have Comcast isn't gonna be like, well, sorry, it's not ours, it was Nine Stars. So it just, for liability reasons, that does not work. So that whole selling point is not even valid.
And then I could just try to clarify that a little bit.
Because I don't talk very clear, yes. Also why I was scared to death to put anything on there.
Yeah, one of the benefits that we were sold on with this was that Nine Star would allow any provider to hook into their fiber optic. But after just talking with couple different providers, it was clear, no other provider is gonna use Nine Star's fiber. Like I said, it would only be Nine Star and their customer, which changed what we.
The whole idea of the
Change the
loop
value
itself,
of-
really.
Right.
Because it doesn't give you that opportunity. It didn't create a loop at all. It hits those 17 customers. It's not like anybody was spidering out from that and it was a start to something greater. Because anything else would have came in and had to do their own.
Will any of the other companies allow that tie-in or?
Yes, what we've heard is that I think most of them, if they're within, was it a half mile of the house or something, that it's a free tie-in for consumers, that they do that. I think basically what Nine Star was offering, everybody offers, is my understanding, at least towards that connectivity.
So then what about I shouldn't be jumping in here, but so what about the exclusivity agreements that sometimes happen in counties?
Be honest, I don't know what's.
If Comcast is gonna run the line, or any company that runs the line, and not just Comcast, I don't mean to single them out, but any company that's gonna lay the fiber. I used to be an AT&T dealer. We were begging AT&T to come out here and they're like, nah, there's not enough population. It's not worth our money. We're not gonna do it. But at some point in time, if I understand correctly, at some point in time, if it's considered a public utility, or if they've been granted that access or that exclusivity, at some point in time, they have to allow competition using their lines.
But it's my understanding that the competition doesn't want to use their lines, not that they're not allowing them to.
I don't think it's very common practice for competition to utilize an existing line, I think is what we're trying to say.
I understand that. I'm just saying somewhere down the road,
This wouldn't be a
somebody
public,
else to be able to come in.
this wouldn't be a public line. This would be Nine Star's line.
Absolutely.
Or Comcast.
Yeah.
Or
My understanding of this, the $3 million for this was that we were going to basically help subsidize their installation.
And I think from their numbers, in part of their response to the RFP, their initial investment, they were asking us to spend 3 million, and theirs was around 900,000. And they said they were going to invest more infrastructure with every customer they got. But in terms of at the outset, they were only committing to 900,000.
It was about 6.
Oh, 6?
Yes, yeah.
Those questions up there.
Yeah, one of them just says the majority of the funds went to Pleasant View, going back to the 8 million. Development that nobody wanted, and then Mike asked me if these materials, the map and stuff I'm showing, be included in the minutes, and I just told him to email me and I'd send him the map.
I just want to make
And for reference, I believe, I was actually able to look on I don't have Facebook, but I was looking on my wife's account on the Northwestern Concerned Citizens page. This map is included in, I don't remember who posted the link to the RFP. Okay, this map is included in that link. So it's buried, it's a 90-page document that this map, I believe, is probably on page 80-ish. But it is included there just for reference.
And then just to complete I guess the loop I started, so now we're in the new year. We've got radically different financial projections than the end of last year. With SB1, our financial planners have told us, by projected that, the cash on hand at the end of the year is projected for the county to be about 10 million. By 2028, that's lower than 2 million, based on, so the 3 million, as we understood it a year ago, is different than 3 million today. And I think, so my intention, when we had the budget meeting and we talked about it, I think everyone on the council felt bad for having this just being an ongoing, lingering issue that never had a vote, that never had any conclusion. And I think what I thought, it would just be nice, like, okay, let's go ahead and make a statement saying, okay, it's off the table for now, rather than everyone waiting, well, maybe next month, maybe next month. As we stand, there's nothing that's been put before us. And at this point, I don't know, it would be almost, at least in my opinion, it would have to be something almost completely different than what's been discussed so far. But I think that kind of sums up everything that I have to say about it.
I think too, in February, you have to remember, we were 2 months in with 3 new members. Right, we had some seasoned people who'd been here a while who were gone. And there was pressure to put a vote on broadband, and I'll speak for myself, but I don't think this board was completely ready to hash that out and understand all of that.
I agree.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I think we needed time, and I think that the way I see it, I am for broadband. I am for everybody having as good internet as they can have. I don't know if this entire $3 million with what we're being told right now. I think Lisa, you started this whole thing off with saying we're in charge of the fiscal matters and really paying attention. And so we are getting projections forecasted to us that look more bleak from the money we will have available to spend for everything. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. One of the things that's got dropped in our lap, this new council, was body cameras for our sheriff's department. They do not have them. If they do not get them, our insurance is going to skyrocket because they want that video image of the interactions that they have to do.
Possibly drop the one insurance.
Possibly.
Was
And that started at,
new car cams and body
the
cams.
sheriff probably could correct me, but it originally started out at $500,000. Now we're up to 700 and some thousand because you have all this video. You have to have all this storage and a group that will do that. And so that was something we weren't even looking at last winter at all. I mean, it just kind of happened. So I think that's very important. And I think we probably need to get those for our deputies, protect them, protect us, protect the public. That's one thing. And it's still a kind of a climbing amount, but I think it's something we have to do. So anyway, that's just something I'd like to say, because it's a chunk of money that we weren't budgeting for, we weren't
I was
expecting.
gonna say something very similar.
Yeah, and Lisa, I think to use your words, you had said that part of our role is to be astute and careful stewards of, the county and the dollars that we have. And I, much like Councilman Barlow, and I think every member of this council, we are very much in favor of broadband expansion and would gladly work with any provider. The challenge right now is investing that initial $3 million for the proposed loop. And I think a lot of it, yes, have things changed over the last 12 months as Mr. Hacker was alluding to? Absolutely. To the fact that we're just really constrained budgetary wise. I would welcome any provider, not just Comcast, any provider that wants to expand in the county without the use of public funds, public investment. I would welcome that. Absolutely. And would love to have those conversations and would certainly be a staunch supporter of that.
And I'd like to echo that. I mean, I'm not shutting the door on broadband myself personally. I just think we might have to retool this, look at it different, see, and I know there's been money spent, but when you're looking at shortfalls coming up, we have to make hard decisions on, do we save this money? Do we spend it? What do we spend it on? And so that's just where I'm at.
And I think it's fair, and that you guys are all alluding to it, but like to say that the broadband proposal that was presented to the prior council and what we're facing today are not the same thing. There was no SB1. Garitas wasn't telling, I mean, the budget you saw today wasn't the budget that he wanted us to put out there. He wanted us to do 2% across the board or nothing for raises. So very difficult decisions have been being made, including, you know, last year I wasn't on the council, but I don't know that Louis knew that that whole thing was going to happen last year. And so that came. And my understanding is that money just had to go to benefit the community. I had nothing to do with the other one. I'm sure you can all imagine that. But anyway, obviously Louis's department being equipped with their safety and our safety as a public in mind is benefiting our entire community. And Louis, I won't say it right, but in addition to your body cams, it was also dash cams. Like that company is no longer even a provider maybe, and those are outdated as well.
Our old in-car cameras?
Correct. Right. So just for transparency, there's a lot of harsh things that aren't true or some assumptions maybe that also are not true. This position is with a different council with a completely different set of, there's a lot of things that Garitas talked about. We don't even know yet. We don't even know the impact of it. He's almost certain fire districts are going to have to be a thing too. So this lit tax is probably a very temporary thing. There's a lot of what ifs and unknowns and moving parts. So with that, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
Can I make a comment? As far as the number I gave you for broadband, the 133, and now they're saying 270. I just got two bills in today, one from Red and one from TAP that equaled 140,000. That's why it went up to 270. I didn't want you guys to think I was hiding anything. Those two bills just got emailed to me today. So that's why it went from 133 to 270. Okay. I just wanted to clear that.
And I think at this time, before we, I guess, open it up to questions, we have a representative Comcast here, Mr. Jarrett Moore. And if this might answer questions before they're even asked, so.
Well, good evening, members of the council. Thank you guys for having me today. And I do want to offer my condolences to you as well. Hearing your story, I'm not too certain what happened with our network there, but very sorry to hear about that and would like to kind of talk with you about service if you have Comcast. I think you said you mentioned you had Comcast. Well, we'll see what happens. I think we can have a good conversation about, but did want to offer my condolences there. And again, thank you, members of the council, for having me today. Let me first start off by saying we do not have an ask today. I think it's very clear that
State your name, please.
yes, I'm sorry, I'm Jared Moore, Jared Moore with I'm the manager of Comcast Government Affairs.
And it's MOHR or MOORE?
Very good question. Moore, and Jarrett is Jarrett, like Dale Jarrett. So And I'm the manager for government affairs with Comcast, and Shelby County is a part of my region that I cover here in the state. And as I mentioned, I do not have an ask today. It's very clear that you all did have an RFP meeting, and I think that was last year, actually. Comcast did submit for that, and we were not selected. And so we understand Nine Star obviously was, and so that's not why I'm here today. My presence is about what we're doing actually in the county and the further expansion that we're getting ready to do. So I'm not sure, do you all have presentation at all?
I think she's.
Oh, yes, there we go. Okay.
Just have to tell me when to go to the next
You
one.
can actually, because all of the first few slides are just kind of our track record and things that most of you might know or don't really care to know. I really want to get into the weeds of what we're doing. You can go to the next one. Here we are right here. So like I mentioned, this is not an ask for the earmarked funds that the county is thinking about and talking about. We have received Next Level Connection monies and funds. And as you can see, our total kind of overall with NLC Round 4 project is roughly about $10 million. So this $10 million, yes, sir.
If you mind saying,
Yes,
has all other providers had opportunities to get that money? And
100%. Yes, sir. So
and in Shelby County.
everyone submitted, I'm assuming everyone, because they would want free money, I guess you could say, but everyone has submitted for the Next Level Connection funds, BEAD funds, which I'll get into that in a minute. I would assume all of them have.
Just because they probably got it, but you, as a provider, had the choice where you chose to
Correct.
put those funds.
Right, and that's,
I mean, like Nine Star didn't get their own BEAD money and use it in Hancock County, which I'm just throwing that out there. I have no idea.
that is
Each
absolutely correct.
provider could allocate those funds as they wish.
Right, and the way we allocate it, obviously, we get into the details of, where it's already existing, where we need to upgrade, where does it seem necessary for our investment? Because obviously we still are a business, and then of course, working with the county and kind of looking through where do we need to put service and where do we need to upgrade service. So as you can kind of see here in the map, much of our work is going to be in the southeast region of the county. And the work includes, I'll kind of start with the second portion here, NLC 4 project. Roughly about 1,000 potential addresses within that region. And then, of course, there's some black dots in the west part, kind of the southwest part of the county, and then a little bit, obviously, in the east as well. So altogether, about 3,700 addresses that we are either going to upgrade the network or add new fiber in general. I'll stop there if there are any questions about that.
At our cost?
No. And that's again, this is, my presence today is not asking for anything. We got, again, the overall investment is about $10 million of an investment from federal money and then our own business investment. So again, when we submitted for the RFP, I think again, this was a year ago. And then you all came out saying that, the county was going to move forward with Nine Star. We backed off. We did submit for the NLC funds, which we did win, which you see here. But we're not asking for the ARPA dollars or whatever allotted monies you have now. So this is all from us and from the federal government. Yes.
You know roughly what percentage of these addresses are existing versus potential new?
Not off the top of my head, sir. I can get with our business development team and see, what portions are going to be new fiber, what portions are existing. As you can see, it's about 3,000 addresses altogether, maybe about 3,700. So we would literally have to kind of go through, and I can come back and once we kind of piece through the details of that.
I would be interested to know roundabout numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And as these projects, as you can see, our first set is about 2-year project, and the second set is to be completed November of 2026. So I will probably periodically come in along with our construction team and our consultants and the contractors that we're working with. updating you all on what's going on throughout this process. So we're not just going to leave you all in the dark and just say, all right, here we are, you see our trucks and crews coming through, and you all and the residents have no idea what's going on. As these projects are being expanded and constructed in, I will come in and answer questions. Our construction team will come in, answer questions, and do what we need to do from there to keep you all updated and aware of what's going on. So I can get you those details as far as percentage is concerned.
Yeah, I don't need exact numbers. I just want to know
Sure.
roundabout
Absolutely.
how much of this is new.
Yeah, I can find that out. And so, again, to your point, I think the councilman said here, no money's from you all. This is all on us, and this is all through the federal government. We did not win BEAD funds for Shelby County. I have a new map, and I think I might have sent it to you, Councilman O'Connor, a little late, but I can come back and kind of explain that too. But the new map kind of shows who won BEAD, or where the BEAD funding is going in the county. We did not win those funds, and I just found that out. I believe it might be Nine Star. I don't know exactly what provider actually won, and that's the next set of federal and state subsidy funds that will go into expansion and growth.
And that was great for the northern part of
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
county, because I think Nine Star, I know is Morristown in that area
Mhm.
there. So maybe that's the area that's gonna come into the areas that
You're
are.
absolutely correct. When I looked at the map, and I wish I had it here, my apologies, but because we didn't win it, I didn't feel like it was really important. I'll let the other providers do it, but when I looked at the map, much of it was the north part of the county of where that BEAD money is to be funded for. So,
Can I ask you a question? With the BEAD money, if they were gonna use it in Shelby County and Shelby County didn't give them $3 million, does it have to go into Shelby County?
oh yeah, what I saw today was specifically for Shelby County.
And it has to come to Shelby
It
County?
has to go to Shelby County. Yes, ma'am. And again, I don't know what provider. It could be Nine Star, it could be AT&T. We're not privy to that information. But today, I kind of wanted to give you an outline of where we're getting ready to either expand, upgrade, kind of move in our system into the county. And we're excited about the investment. We're excited about, expanding our network, obviously. We're excited about, not having to ask you all for money. We wish we could have gotten that, but obviously there is a lot of money from the state and from the federal government, from us as well. And we value the county and want to work with you all as we move forward in the next year or two. So I hope this kind of outlined, it's pretty obvious here. We got 76 miles of cable and fiber, and then of course another 143 miles of cabling and fiber. We would rather go aerial, so we will work with pole owners. If we got to go underground, and I know you mentioned it earlier, we stand by our construction. We're not just going to, I know there was one provider in Bloomington, they hit gas lines, and it was a catastrophe. And we told them, watch these companies, this is a serious issue. We stand by what we do. We stand by our construction. We're not going to dig up the yards and just leave people trying to figure out what to do. We're not going to hit gas lines. And a part of this funds, we also have legalities that we have to follow. And so obviously, if something does go wrong, we will move in and be accountable for what we did wrong and fix within a certain amount of time. And that's why you have me, our construction team, our contractors will come in and kind of update you all as the project is expanding throughout the next year or two, if that makes sense.
This is maybe gonna be a really dumb question, but I'm just trying to figure out, when you all start your process in a county, is your first step pulling permits?
Yeah, so we will need permits, and our construction team is going to come back
You
in.
haven't even done that yet, though.
Right, we have not done that yet.
I guess I'm
We're
trying to
going-
find, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Nathan, but how does a county, for example, how do we find out this information ahead of time? Honestly, if Nine Star did get awarded money, or if other ones did, and you're doing all this, and we would have put $3 million to Nine Star, I think that's hard to swallow, knowing that we had no idea this was coming. What I'm getting at is there a better way for the county to be aware of projects like this that are this impactful when we're making these kinds of decisions, that they're coming to our area.
I can speak on that just a little bit. Part of, I believe, part of us being able to receive BEAD money into our community was to set everything up within the community to be what we are considered as a broadband ready community.
Right.
And part of that is to speed up that whole permitting process. So
I know some of you signed letters for them to apply.
that was just saying that we are willing to.
We were supporting.
Just-
We're gonna go solicit
The
funds.
process though, like
Yeah.
how do we know this project is coming here? Because this is really impactful. And if we're gonna spend millions of dollars that is for something very similar, I'm trying to connect, how do we know ahead of time? So,
Not focusing on the same areas of the county.
right,
Yeah, we're not duplicating efforts. And how do we know, aside from just simply driving down a county road and seeing someone boring in the ground or, you know,
that's how I
a new wire?
feel. You are right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would
And I don't even know who it is. Like, I still don't know who it is.
I would suggest, and I think I had this conversation earlier, I'm not sure if Nine Star or AT&T has ever come before the council within the last 7, 8 months. I would recommend that they actually come and kind of update you all on what the next process is for them as it relates to BEAD. Because that funding will begin sometime next year. And so, as you mentioned, those permits will be needed. Those, expediting of those permits will be needed. Not just for them, but for all of us, really, as we move into expansion. But I think it's recommended that all of them come before the council and express what's getting ready to be a driver within the
If they're even intending on.
their intended. Yeah, it's very true.
Well, and one of my holdbacks early was that one provider was going to try to do the county as a whole,
Yes, sir.
we'll say.
Trying to understand.
But having a multiple providers, is one of the ways, or multiple ways of receiving it. It was one of the things I always thought we could cover the county way quicker. And you wouldn't be necessarily competing against each other in certain areas. You kind of have your own areas that you're growing, so we grow quicker.
No, you're absolutely correct. And, some might argue this might be a good thing that we didn't win BEAD. Because, we're not overbuilding, I guess you could say. But when I saw the map and they showed us kind of a visual where exactly the BEAD funding is going, much of it was in the north, which we assume is Nine Star, which goes to your point, it kind of broadens and gives you variety. If Nine Star is there, we obviously won't. I'm not sure if AT&T or any other providers will be there. But I can tell you that Shelby County seemingly has options. We're proud of one of them, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and
Get through everything and I didn't know.
this was really the main one, and I think all the council members have the full presentation, so.
Well said.
Yes.
Thank you for your investment in the community. We do
Thank you, sir.
appreciate it. I personally really like to see that you're doing what you're doing. However, from a county standpoint, I'm not sold. This is,
I understand. Yes, sir.
I think
I
that's
can't
what's important.
argue that $3 million must be spent to get us where we are. I'm not even convinced that even if we spent the $3 million plus this, that we would have enough. I don't know that I'll ever be able to sit in this seat and say we have enough. And, take that for what it's worth. I still am torn on what I think we should do with that money. And whether it should go towards this.
It would not be going towards.
Not-
Okay, understand. Yes, sir.
Expanding our broadband, in our community. It's obvious that it's needed because look at the uproar that happened after last month's meeting. I'd say the majority of the people sitting out here in the crowd right now are in here because of what was said last month. So to push that off and say that it is what it is, it's not acceptable. So I don't know the answer, but I think we need to keep digging into this.
I think that's what that's what we're saying though. Like, this is huge. None of us knew this. I think we should reach out to Nine Star and anyone else, didn't you say there's like a for the gods of fiber optic cable that tells you all?
So I think Commissioner Reed talked about this a little bit. I actually reached out to the Indiana Broadband Office, which I recommend one of you do, because I asked them for that map to see who else is in the county
Yes.
aside of us and Nonstar. They gave me a map from 2020. I told them I'm not taking this to Shelby County.
Oh.
So I recommend, because you all have a lot more power than I do, to tell them the state needs to update this. So we know exactly every single provider that's in our county, whether they have a small portion of the county or 90% of it, the map has to be updated. Because when they showed me this, I wouldn't have dared brought that to you all, because I don't even think two of the companies exist any longer. So I didn't even bother bringing that to you all. So
Thank you.
I think you all have much power than I do to demand that the Indiana Broadband Office updates that.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
My first one is you're bringing in fiber optic, right?
Yeah, fiber, yes, ma'am.
Second question is, are you guys hitting any towers that are out there?
As far as the existing, like building new towers or doing existing,
Existing tower?
are we gonna tie into the towers? We want to do aerial first, so that's always gonna be our first priority. Obviously, it's less construction, it's less.
There's just so much more Wi-Fi out there. And in my feeling, and I've said this from the very, very, very beginning, is I think our first step needs to get the towers, fiber to the towers.
Okay,
Because not all our towers have fiber.
right.
So, and like I said, lots of us are bouncing off towers. It's why, we don't have the cable coming to
Sure.
your house. So I was just wondering if you guys are gonna connect to any towers.
That's probably gonna be our first priority. I'll have our construction guy, when we actually start moving in, I'll have our construction person actually come before the council again to actually indicate, are we tying into any towers? How many poles? Are the poles completely packed where we cannot get on at all? And where are we gonna need to go underground? Before we start that, we'll come before the council and let you know that exactly.
And Amy, to give Amy kudos, she has been saying that from the beginning.
Awesome, okay.
And really, the towers probably are the fastest way to get.
It is.
I mean, most of your
Covered.
cell phones are off.
So yeah,
Are off.
towers. That's why it's our priority to actually tie into the towers. We would rather do that. But I'm assuming 90% of it, our expansion will be on towers. Because we try not to go underground or do any boring as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
for reference, I sent that deed map. I
Nathan.
just saw you.
Have, okay,
Email,
great,
saw it
great.
through.
Nathan has something to share
Can
too.
we pull it up?
Yeah, I sent you the bead.
Again, I can't speak for Nine Star, and we're not even a part of this, but I want
did,
everybody to
yes.
kind of look at it. Yeah, there it is.
Let me try to get a better. Problem
You
is,
might be able to.
It was a screenshot because it used, yeah. it-
Yeah, you can,
you
you
sent
should,
it. I-
sure, you should be able to shrink it a little bit. Yeah, so if you, so the red part, the red coloring there is where BEAD money will be funded to. Again, that's none of us. We did not win any of that.
so the red is the new bead money that's
Yes.
to come out.
yes, We think it's Nine Star, it might be AT&T, not sure. But I would highly recommend bringing them in, either one of them, so they can explain better.
Chair, I have a question right there. So just to reiterate, your 3,300 homes that you guys are getting, already started that process. And will be completed by November-ish, 2026.
The NLC will start January of 2026. Yeah, so 2 months, 4 months
So overall, it's gonna hit 3,300.
altogether. About, 3,400 roughly. Yes, sir.
In the entire county, there's roughly 8,300 homes outside of the city.
Okay,
So if you hit 3,300, of the 8,300, you're roughly hitting 40%.
yes, sir. And the other 60, again, might be some other providers. I'm not too certain. That number, though, is only for the grant money that we receive. So if there's another grant process, We might be able to tie into the remaining that was not hit if another provider does not. But those 3,300, 3,400 is what we're gonna do through the allotted funds we have now.
So do you have plans too far out to, once you've got this LC, this P money,
Mhm.
once you put that in place, and then kind of spider out
Okay.
to hit some of the other homes that are closer?
We're gonna,
after 2026?
if there's an opportunity there, we're gonna take it. Just like we did with BEAD. If there's an NLC round 5, if there's an NLC round 6, we're gonna apply for as much as possible. And of course, if we win it, we will try to meet the need of what we didn't cover or what other provider did not cover.
So when you're running all this new fiber through aerial or through board, what you're putting down is a strong infrastructure to support future expansion.
Absolutely. All of our infrastructure is always for not just the present, but for the future as well. So whatever we're gonna do, we're gonna tie into what we've already had or upgrade it so that we can continue on with something new.
And would you allow, since you put it in this infrastructure that's already in play, would you allow other providers as an AT&T or Nightstar to tie into your fiber?
Probably not. Only because, again, I think it was mentioned earlier, it's a liability issue. And of course, knowing the legal field and being in the legal field, I just know it will be a conflict of interest. It could really throw the businesses in haywire if something goes wrong. It can be a lot of court litigation. I think to minimize all of that, we rather not tie in or have anyone else tie into our. I think it came up before with Nightstar that we opted out from tying into their or building into their fiber as well.
There's a question that came up. So when round 2 of BEAD begins accepting applications, will Comcast apply for funds specifically for this county?
Most likely, we don't normally like to double dip, I guess you can say. But we, at this point, with the state of the economy, we would try to like to get any type of federal or state funds that we can possibly can. So if there is a round 2, yes, I'm 85% sure we'll apply for it.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
And I want to actually share this, but no.
Oh, go ahead.
You're asking about when something like this is happening in the county, should commissioners and stuff like that know about that?
I think you should, yes.
Well, yes, and no. So
Yeah.
we do. Well, so they apply for permits, they're working in right away. We approved those permits. For instance, yesterday we approved 6 to 8 fiber permits. Some was, and they're contractors, but you realize there's some other fiber running through the county that you can't tie into. For instance, down railroad tracks, down 421, that's connecting data centers from Indianapolis, Cincinnati, but they don't do the personal or small business fiber. But also like for Comcast and stuff like that, and it would be great to know, this is also a private business, doing private business with personal homeowners. So it does affect the county, so they're working right away, so. Kind of know a little bit, but we don't know. You know, if it's a bigger picture, they set that for permission to work in our right away.
You don't think homeowners have a right to know though, like if somebody's gonna be boring their yard?
Yeah, they do, so we've made it very clear that they have to go hang a door hanger.
Cause we didn't get, well, I mean, when it went through 900 South in Mount Auburn, and I said it could be because our house was too far off the road and they didn't want to come up there. But like and I think I told like they didn't speak English either, so we had no I still have no idea who it was.
So yes, there's lots of bitches that they'll be working yards, you come on, there's a giant hole in the yard. And they're gonna connect our pull in. They usually do door hangers, the phone numbers, all that kind of stuff, we put in the newspapers. There's that email we make kind of,
They demand
at
it.
our meetings, so why they are boring.
They told them that.
They have to know. We generated at least 2 or 5 this year.
Is that the case between Morristown and Walden with Nightstar National? You know, the administrative building in front of the school, so they should be tied into, that's like right on front door. And it's a fiber line, Nightstar.
So it's nice, so.
All right, guys, if we want to have those discussions, maybe not as part of the meeting.
But you know what? I gotta say it, give me a second, because this leads into something that I'm concerned about. You had the 9 Star line running in front of your house and they won't allow you to hook in.
Right, it's been there since before I lived there. My wife's lived there forever.
It's probably been there for.
It's gotta go into the internet somewhere, but maybe it's not.
Brian, maybe you can speak on this because you sat on a board.
Yes, so between Race Crossing, excuse me, you got Rockwell, Shelby Eastern Schools, Technology Director. So,
Years ago, there was the fiber optics that the Shelby County did. So there's a portion of it that runs from Waldron Schools to the hut off of out by the new fire station. Then goes back down 44 to the admin building in Race Crossing. There's another segment that goes from Race Crossing down 600 all the way into Morristown. That is 9 Star and cooperative with Shelby County Fiber Optic Board. 4 of those strands belong to the schools. So both directions, but then the rest of it, from my understanding, belongs to Shelby County. So
Brian, are you using those lines?
we're using our strands. We're not using the others.
Are you pulling anything off the tower? Don't do it.
We're all above ground and from Waldron and almost 98% below ground to Morristown.
I know taxpayers put money into that line going through.
Some of it was USF money, so some of it was actually what we call E-rate, and we used some of the money from the feds to help facilitate because we had no way to connect school buildings together.
Why do you think they would not allow a resident who was right there on that
I
route?
think it's actually breaking into it. It's only 8 strands or 12. We'll have to double check. We have to go back to the old fiber optic documentation. So there wasn't that many strands initially intended to go that way because it was mainly for the fiber optic board to use. And then, of course, that just kind of ceased to exist. So
How long has Shelby County, and I saw your post, how long has Shelby County been
We've had-
with fiber optic?
we've had fiber in this county since 2000.
You know, and I asked, how much fiber is in the ground that we paid for that's not used?
We didn't, I don't know if we paid for it, we traded. It was one of those things where we gave land, we gave a hut for, I think it was either 2 or 4 strands all the way through Shelbyville, all the way down 74 to Henry Street in Indianapolis. Then Susquehanna Communications, prior to Comcast, was the ones that would facilitate the interconnects between. I think we're still in an agreement with Comcast as they acquired the remainder of Susquehanna Communications.
All right, at this point, if anyone has any questions for the public or any comments, now is your opportunity. Or anything else? Do you have anything else, Amy?
I do not. Donna might.
Donna, yeah?
I have one request for a replacement position. This one is in the youth assistance program. Again, it's for a full-time case manager position. Just as a reminder, this department is supplemented by the city of Shelbyville. So her budget is I believe it, Melissa is here. Is it a 50-50 split, Melissa? It is a 50-50 split. So this position is classified as a Cat 2 with an annual salary of $50,214. It is full-time at 35 hours a week, and it is a replacement position. So she is requesting this to be replaced, to be posted and replaced, please. She's available if you do have questions.
Questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Louis, anything? All right, do we need to take any action on the body cams or no? Is that?
We've already done that.
Yeah, so we don't have to, think about that. All right, anything else from the public? Council, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Yeah.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
For that. Did you pass the minute thing around? You want it signed?
The minutes, got
Find it.
here.
Need the order.
That's a resolution too, we gotta. bring it.
Minutes are not.
Tell us the meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy, don't leave it. Fine.
I need to abstain if I wasn't here. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you don't find that.
Okay. So it's not a 6-0 either, then it's a 5-0, and I would have abstained. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
You were nay.
Yeah.